Cricket et al. It's a website. It's a podcast.
Pete, it's a way of life. It's Gideon Haig over here.
And it's what's left of Peter Lawler over here.
Right, and welcome to Cricket et al., your independent cricket podcast. We should almost do this podcast in double speed, shouldn't we? to chime with today's events at Kingston. Pete, you were complaining that batting under lights was a crapshoot last night. Basically, batting is a crapshoot wherever you look these days.
It is when you're that West Indies lineup facing Mitchell Starc in that kind of mood, and Scott Boland when he finally gets the ball.
Yeah. So West Indies, if you haven't caught up, and there's reason why you wouldn't have, West Indies have been bowled out for 27 in 87 balls at Sabina Park. A day that will go down in infamy in West Indian cricket, alas. But look, the headlines today: Starc 6 for 9, the fastest 5 for in Test cricket history. It took 15 balls. It's 4 balls faster than the existing record, which is held by 3 players, including Scott Boland, who proceeded to, feeling upstaged, proceeded to take a hat trick.
Right. This game was ridiculous. There was a wicket on the first ball. Cameron Green shouldered arms. He was bowled. So there was, and then there was a wicket on the first ball of the West Indies innings. There were, in fact, there were 3 wickets in that over. Yeah. It was just, it was cricket at warp speed. It was obscene. It was ridiculous. I mean, a side's been bowled out for 27. If Sam Konstas hadn't sort of fumbled one in the slips.
Well, 2. He's dropped 2.
I mean, I bet New Zealand must hate him right now because they still own the lowest test score in history, which is 26.
I was absolutely hanging on that. I was thinking, 26, come on. I would just love to see that record beaten in my lifetime. But look, and they haven't beaten the other record, which is the fewest number of runs off the bat in a test innings, which I was checking up. West Indies have made 21, 6 extras. The fewest runs off the bat is actually 19. In a South African all-out score of 30 with 11 extras in 1924. These are the rabbit holes. There were so many rabbit holes. You didn't have time to go down them all.
So we've seen a man in his 100th Test match take 3 wickets in the first over. Yeah. Then he's taken his 400th Test match wicket.
Yep.
And essentially, by the measure of the speed of it, it is the best opening spell in Test match history.
Yeah, wow. Gee.
By that measure, isn't it?
Yep. Yeah, it was astonishing. It was Mitchell Starc at his pink ball best, wasn't it? He just absolutely owns that pink ball. He gets it to do extraordinary things. And against weak opposition, which I'm afraid there's no doubt it was today, it was a catch weight contest, wasn't it? I mean, there were some good balls in there. That first ball to Campbell was a very difficult ball to play. He had to play it. Absolutely perfect line and length. You expect to get 1 or 2 sighters, but Mitchell Starc doesn't really give them to you. Some of the other shots were a bit abject. Anderson letting go a ball that's hit him middle halfway up. That was a great way for him to celebrate his Test debut. Bit of a step up from West Indies domestic cricket. Then Brandon King going too hard at one early on, swinging back. I mean, you've got to expect a ball like that. That is Stark's stock ball, isn't it? That ball coming back in. And
the Brandon King one was almost inexplicable. Everyone knows that's coming. Yeah. Except apparently Brandon King didn't get the memo.
Exactly. And then the review. How about McKill Lewis's review? I mean,
He didn't have his heart in it. I think he was talked by his partner. He was, all right. And as soon as he saw the replay, he just started walking. He walked. Yeah, he didn't wait for whatever that thing's called. The ball
DRS.
tracker. No, that was the most ambitious review I've ever seen in Test match. It almost snapped his tibia.
Yeah. And the same is true of Shy Hope. That was another very good ball, hooping back into the front pad, and there was a review after that one too, wasn't there? I mean, I guess we're not going to need these later, are we?
Every time I look down to make a note in my book, a wicket fell.
Oh, God.
And Starc, and there was a bit of satisfaction for Starc too, because he was hunting seals, and he did, because of that fielding error, he did actually get to bowl to seals and knock him over for a duck. So he was hunting him after the send-off in the first innings.
Yep.
Yeah. Funny, as I said to him, geez, mate, you just you hate a bit of attention, don't you? Here he was all week saying, I hate everyone talking to me about my 100th Test match, Just wish it'd go away. But, there's a pretty funny chat after the game because with Scotty Boland getting the hat trick and him getting the getting his 400th wicket and all of the above, we've got to work out who gets the ball. They're actually talking about sawing it in half. It's that or scissors paper. Yeah. I did ask Starc if he'd come round to the pink ball concept, given that he already had the most wickets in pink ball Test history, but then to do this, suppose you get to sleep in at least, don't you?
Yep.
Yeah, but
someone once pointed out to Mike Brearley that there are potentially 11 souvenirs at the end of a Test match. There are 6 stumps, 4 bails, and a ball. And they asked him whether he'd ever contemplated that towards the end of a game, whether players had sort of thought, how is it going to be allocated? And of course, he'd said, unsurprisingly, that superstition tends to rule that out. You never think that far ahead until you've actually nailed the match result. You don't think about how you're going to commemorate it. But I reckon split down the centre. That's probably just about right.
Yeah, I think that would be right.
Should we talk through the Boland hat trick? I mean, it's a good one. Greaves caught it slip.
You took me through it. Yeah. I was making notes in my book.
Yeah. I mean, the LBW was actually given not out, wasn't it? Holdstock gave it not out, and I don't follow. That was as out as at least as out as Brandon King's LBW in the first innings, but somehow Holdstock's decided that it's not hitting. In fact, it's hitting the top of middle. And then, you sort of want Warwick coming in on a hat trick, don't you? Boland said that he was nervous, but that I was kind of backing him at that point. You don't often call a hat trick in advance, but that one always looked pretty inevitable. Warwick way too late on the ball, and it's all over. But in the next over, wasn't it? So
it was, yeah.
So,
geez, you know what? As entertaining as it all is, it's pretty grim for West Indies cricket, isn't it? That's as shit a day as you can have for a Test match team, and I reckon they'd hung on the first 2 tests for the first 2 days, and Australia had clicked their heels. I felt like Australia really clicked their heels in this Test match. It was just one too many tests for these guys, and it's pretty grim. I mean, it's grim for West Indies cricket. I mean, everyone's been talking through this match whether Australia will ever come back here again. Anyway. But I was talking to the guy who picked me up from the ground last night, and we were talking about the old days West Indies cricket, and he was telling me how much he loved it. I said, "You go now?" He says, "Nah, I can't stand to see them get beat all the time." Yeah. And it's valid, isn't it? If you're a cricket fan, you just don't want to turn up and see your team humiliated like that. That's going to resonate wild for a long time, that performance from the West Indies.
Yeah. I mean, we got to bear in mind, and I pointed this out the other day, that the West Indies these days, they're drawing on a pretty small talent pool, and a lot of that talent pool is going the way of T20, isn't it? If you look at that, I mean, so Purin, Holder, Narine, Hetmeyer, Myers, Dre Russ was there actually, wasn't he? But a lot of these guys are playing Major League Cricket at the moment. Craig Braithwaite has kind of reached the end of the line. He's probably the last West Indian batsman of any durability. They're drawing on a pretty tiny and struggling domestic cricket structure, which has been plundered basically for its T20 possibilities. So West Indies cricket is overextended and under-resourced.
And it's disappointing on a few levels because West Indies cricket has put a lot of money into getting the lights here for day-night cricket, promoting these tests on every island, and it hasn't gone very well for them. Had it not been for their bowlers, who look, people have said you probably haven't given them enough praise through the series. Fair enough. Elzari Joseph's spell last night, and you were watching on the TV. Was some really
exhilarating.
And in fact, ditto this morning. They ripped through those Australians this morning. They're bowling the house down, for God's sake. I can't quite get as excited about Shamar Joseph as I once did, but he's a very good bowler as well. And then there's Seals. So they've got the bowling talent. It's the batting talent that really finds them out, isn't it?
Look, I think we have praised them sufficiently, frankly, because we've been clutching at something positive to say about West Indies cricket, haven't we? I think we've actually talked quite a lot about the West Indies pace bowlers. Yeah, they've been great, but and sure, bowlers win your matches, but not when your batters are so bad. They just seem to technically they seem deficient, temperamentally they seem completely defeated. They don't seem to be able to. I think they were just intimidated by the Australian attack, and the Australian attack's relentless. They, particularly with Boland in this game, there really just did seem absolutely nowhere to hide. At least with Lyon you could have a slog, but you couldn't slog these guys.
Well, Pat Cummins hasn't bowled a ball in this inning.
Yeah.
He still gets paid the same amount of money, and I reckon he'll take that. He did say that later. Yeah. Someone said, "What was your favourite thing about the match?" And he said, "Not bowling in the last innings was pretty good."
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Good. Pretty proud of his boys. All four of them stood up for a photograph later on.
Yeah. Yep.
Starc, Hazelwood, Boland, and Cummins. And as Boland said, it's something of a luxury, isn't it? When you don't have your best bowler in the world doesn't have to send down a delivery in the innings.
Yeah, that
I'm not sure he's the best bowler in the world, but anyway, he's up
well,
there.
that photograph will be reminiscent, won't it, of those famous photographs of the West Indies pace bowling quartet. Roberts holding Garner Croft. Remember those photos, the four horsemen of the apocalypse? Well, now the Australian have the horsemen, and
People were asking me down in the crowd, "Have you ever seen anything like this?" And I said, "Wow, I saw Australia rock and roll for 47 in that 9 for 21 they were, and in fact, the South Africa had lost 9 for 21 in that, but even that didn't measure up to this." Of course,
we saw India bowled out in Adelaide, didn't we, for 36? That was nasty, brutish, and short.
That. And of course, going right back, I remember Kirtley taking the 7 for 1. At the Wacker.
Yeah.
But that, of course, happened at the butt end of at the fag end of an innings, didn't it? Not at the top of an innings. You don't see it done with such sort of clinical efficiency as it was today. And that pink Duke's ball, boy, it's bitching about. The hilarious thing is that the Australians in their meetings this morning had said, "Well, look, if we don't get any wickets too early, let's not panic. Let's just limit the damage, and we'll get them under lights. We'll get them under lights, fellas." So it's still a couple of hours away from the lights going on here, I can tell you. They only bowled 10 overs under lights in this game, the Australians. So they essentially had the worst of the conditions. What did they win by in the end? It's a bloody long. It's a massive victory in the end.
Yes,
176 runs. 176 runs in a game where how many runs have been scored, Gideon? 350, 490, about 500 runs. Yeah, just a little over 500 runs in this game.
It's the third shortest test innings at 87 balls. I was looking up this morning. New Zealand didn't do too badly in their 26. They actually batted for 27 overs. It must have been bloody miserable, but at least it was protracted.
Yeah, they don't play cricket like that anymore.
No, they don't.
Cricket hanging in there for 14 overs or whatever it is.
What's the fewest you've been in a team bowled out for?
Oh, that's too long ago for me. No, I don't think I've ever been part of a massive collapse. So We've knocked over the other side for 4. No, it wasn't
right.
4. Hang on, I think 8. 8. I think we knocked them over 4.
Yeah.
You?
Okay. Oh, look, back in the mists of time, I dare say there were some pretty bleak results for the St James Presbyterian under 12Bs. But in recent times, I was in part of a team that was bowled out for 23 in a second innings after we'd won on the first innings, so we lost the game outright. So someday get me talking about that, Pete. It's not a pleasant memory, and it won't be a pleasant memory for these West Indies players. That's the kind of performance that kind of haunts you, and in fact emboldens other teams playing against you. Other teams going up against the West Indies will think, well, how much will it take to crack them? Probably not much. It was awkward conditions. This was not completely. There's hardly batter-friendly conditions, but honestly, you've just got to do a better job than that, don't you? You've got to be able to come out the other side of an opening spell, at least.
Cummins argued that the conditions here were the best conditions of the series.
Really? Yeah, right.
But there was one thing, while the bounce was very good here. I mean, there were points today where Inglis was keeping and taking the ball above his head.
Yep.
Off not extremely short delivery. So it was hard and it was fast. But the other, I mean, it was up and down on the other pitches. So you could actually see pull shots being played, although not in the West Indies innings, I might add, on this pitch. And that's the other thing, of course. Alex Carey wasn't out there today.
Yeah, but he wasn't subbed out, Pete. He was still playing. Inglis was keeping as a substitute, wasn't he? But he wasn't a concussion sub.
Yeah, he wasn't a concussion sub. He was a replacement fielder, essentially. Which is interesting that you can have a wicketkeeper who's a replacement fielder.
Oh, that's fair enough.
I suspect they didn't want to do the paperwork or something like that. I'm not sure what their motivations for it were. I don't think he's too badly concussed because I think he might be having a beer right now, which tends to suggest that, or maybe he thinks I've got a headache, I might as well have another one. So it's not too bad. But we did speculate on that last night because that hit him very hard. I mean, he was quite stoic in it. He didn't go down. He didn't flinch, but he stood very, very still for a long time. I think, as we said last night, I think his cage had been rattled by that one. And, 2 balls later, he danced down the pitch and was out for zip, wasn't he? But I'm sure he'll be fine. But great. The Boland thing is wonderful, isn't it? In that you've got a guy, I mean, he says it's not frustrating. He says it's a privilege to be like the fourth bowler when the first 3 are so good. But I don't care. I mean, I don't care if you've got the patience of a saint, seriously, or if you're the Dalai freaking Lama. It's really you've really got to be looking at these guys. Any chance I could get a game, any chance one of you would have an accident with, the fork over breakfast and sort of injure your hand. Can you really lie there every night thinking, I'm the understudy, and one day I might get on the stage, but not that often.
Well, I guess you think that 5 years ago I was nowhere. I was just a first-class bowler, and no one was predicting great things of me. And all of a sudden, I had a breakout season. I made my way through. If you're the second best keeper in Australia, you don't get a go.
No,
there's only place for one in each team.
There's a few more bowlers, though, aren't there? Look, look, he's fantastic, and I also think that then when you do get your chance, and perhaps he's been guilty of this once or twice, when you do get your chance, you try too hard. And he did say coming in, not actually when he was on the field, but in the 2 days leading in, which makes me think they've made that decision a lot earlier than they told us. He was thinking, God, they've dropped Nathan Lyon. That really does put some pressure on me to perform, doesn't it? Yeah. So, and every time you get your chance, you go, this might be my one test match of the series, my one test match of the year,
Yep.
But he goes, he's very self-contained. He's very calm. They love him. They adore him.
Yes.
Oh, and all of Australia loves him. What a hero! That was an MCG moment, wasn't it? The hat trick. Not that he got there on the hat trick, but anyway.
Well, you dare say he'll have an opportunity in Australia when it's hard, with the best will in the world. It's hard to see how the Fab Four get through an entire 5-match series in Australia. But I guess these
they go pretty close though, don't they?
They do.
Sort of, so yeah.
I mean, the fact is that Test matches getting shorter means that there is less attrition. There's less cricket in the bowlers' legs. With Test cricket being more explosive and batting teams being more brittle, perhaps we do need to, recalibrate somewhat. It's possible for bowlers to get through entire games. It was interesting that, India's left out Bumrah in the second Test match, which they proceeded to win, and then they've included him at Lords and they've proceeded to lose.
He's cursed, I tell you, cursed.
He's cursed them. But actually, we should mention that game, Pete. I don't know how much you saw of it, but England have won a 1,136-run Test match by 22 runs. And it was an absolutely brilliant last day. It's been a feast of Test cricket. You could watch it in the evening, in the morning. This is, Test cricketing nirvana at the moment on Fox.
It's footy season, mate.
They got so close today. They got so close. And
they get within about 23, was it, or something?
Yeah. Poor old Siraj, he's had this last wicket stand with Jadeja. He's done everything right. That last ball from Bashir, he's played it down at his feet. It's rolled behind him and taken a bail. I mean, what a finish! Bashir's bowling with a broken finger. He's not going to play again for the rest of the series. It was the 6th anniversary of England's victory in the 2019 World Cup. It's their 10th narrowest Test win. Any other day, we'd be talking about that at length, but our energies are concentrated in the Caribbean. We are watching some vintage Test cricket at the moment, Pete. It's interesting, isn't it? Test cricket's always in its winding sheet somehow, but then it just jumps out of the grave.
Yes. Yeah. Parts of it are in extremely rude health, aren't they? Yeah. And I guess what we've just witnessed here is a reflection on how parts of it just are not in rude health. In fact, are on life support, particularly after that. That effort.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Pete, what are you going to do with your 2 days off in Kingston?
Well, I think I'll bash something out from the presses, will I? I mean, it's the last thing I want to do, but I apologise if my copy lacks a bit of zest from here on in. I lay in bed last night and I had Spotify on. I was listening to the Fall of Civilizations, which I've just listened to over and over again. It kind of helps me sleep. And somehow our podcast started to play. Because I subscribe to it, don't I? To boost our subscriber numbers. I don't usually listen to it. And I heard this guy talking and I thought, bloody hell, he sounds like he needs help. I sounded so drained. It's time to get home, Gideon. It's time to get... Sue's in the car driving down from her mother's to home now.
Okay.
I'll be getting on a plane in 2 days and I can't wait. I absolutely can't wait. Yeah. I think a few of us are going to try and jump in a car and go to Montego Bay tomorrow. So that might be fun. Have a bit of a swim.
Yep.
That's okay. But, I am looking for... Ed Al's been on the road for a while now. What's the date? Because when was that last test in London? That was a month ago, wasn't it?
Yeah. It feels like a long time ago already, doesn't it? But we're in the new World Test Championship cycle, and Australia is on top. I think they're unbeaten so far, so that bodes well. You and I will be reunited at the Phillip Island Festival of Stories in a couple of weekends' time.
It's not this weekend; it's next weekend. Is
it? Not this weekend. It's next weekend. Yeah.
Are you staying down for it?
I will.
Commuting.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. No, I'll be staying down. Yep.
I look forward to seeing you there. I'm bringing Sue.
Yeah. Jolly good. All right.
Well,
that's all we've got time for. That's all we've got time for. I'll be signing books. Oh. I can't help but sign books. The unsigned editions are rarer these days.
You can't return a signed book, can you?
No, that's a veteran author's tip, isn't it? They can't return a signed book. Yeah. All right, so all we've got time for on Cricket et al. Thank you very much for joining us, for following us through the World Test Championship and this West Indies series, in which Australia has triumphed justly 3-0 on a high-octane final day of Test cricket. But for me, it's goodbye.
And it's good night from him.